All right, in this lesson here, we're going to be taking a look at triangles, angles, as well as the Pythagorean theorem. Now, much of what we're going to be going through today or in this lesson here, is going to be a review from grade 9. Some stuff might be a little bit new and some stuff will be somewhat different as to how you might have seen it in the past. So it's important that we understand what we are going through right now, because what we learn in this first lesson here is going to translate through the rest of this unit, okay, all the rest of the next 3 lessons, as well as next year when you take grade 11 math and we deal with triangles and trig for a second time or another time in grade 11. So let's take a look at a couple of things about triangles, angles, and Pythagorean theorem. The first thing is we're going to take a look at what is a triangle. Now, most of you know this from your days of grade 2 or maybe even earlier than that. Let's see if I can spell it correctly here. Triangle. Okay. Even my son knows what a triangle is, and he's 2.5 years old. So most of us know what a triangle is. A triangle is a shape which has 3 sides as well as 3 angles. Now, understanding what a triangle is and understanding the base units of a triangle are 2 different things. And so it's important that we understand those base units as well. The sides and angles, what we see right here, this is our regular triangle. We have 3 corners or angles, and there are 3 sides which are joined together to form those angles. Now, the 3 corners that we have, what we may do at times, and again, we're going to see a little bit of this and a little bit of that in this unit, but one way to always label them if we want is we can label them with 3 letters. Now, the 3 letters that we're going to usually choose are going to be in alphabetical order. So in this case here, I'm going to use the letters A, the letter B, and the letter C. And we're actually going to take a look at a couple different ways of labeling our triangles as well. So A, B, and C are going to be the way that we label our triangles. These are going to, this is going to be triangle ABC. And so what I can also do is I can label this. I'm going to use some math shortcut or math jargon here. There's a little symbol, and let's see if we can quickly find it in here. There we go. There's a triangle symbol. So triangle ABC, okay, is this triangle right here. Okay, so that's how we can label triangle ABC. Now these corners, like I mentioned, are capitalized, and so we recognize them as being capitalized. The 3 sides that we have could be labeled in one of 2 different ways as well. Okay, the first way is we could label them with a lowercase letter. Okay, and I'm going to label it as A because it is the side that is across from my A angle. Okay, it's a side that's across from the A angle, or I can label it as, and again, I'm going to use a little bit of math type here. And I need to make sure I can find my right math type. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. This is line segment BC. And you'll notice here that line segment BC, when we have the letters, so it goes from B to C. These, we call them an angle, but it's also a point here. Okay, so it goes from B to C. That is a line segment, and we can recognize that by just a little line on top of it. All right, this side right here is going to be B, or, and again, we're going to call it a line segment. It'll be line segment AC. And let's quickly put that in there. So it could be also line segment AC, and because it goes from A to C. And this side right here is going to be side length C, or we can write it as a line segment. Now we could use either one of these, so it's important that we recognize that we could use either one. Line segment AB. Order of the letters doesn't matter. I usually use alphabetical order. Once you get to grade 11, you'll see a little more order of letters matters, but for right now, we're not too worried. It's just the line segment in between. Okay. That's the 2 different ways that we can label a triangle with letters. Okay, and we're going to talk about other ways of labeling, or a couple different ways of labeling coming up as well. Now, the 3 angles that we have in the triangle, okay, if we add them all up, we're adding up all 3 angles of any triangle. is going to equal to 180 degrees. Okay, so it equals to 180 degrees. Now, what we have here is a set rule of math. This is straightforward. If we're looking at solving for angles and we know two of the angles, we know that the third one is going to be the subsequent part of 180 degrees. So that is one thing that we can take a look at when we're talking about adding up angles or understanding a triangle. Now, a couple more things that we are going to be taking a look at. Angles can be labeled in two different ways. Okay? If I ask you to find a certain angle, I'm going to ask you in one of two ways. The first way is just with the angle letter. Okay? And I'm often going to be using a symbol here. And again, I'm going to show you this symbol that we deal with in trig. Okay? Trig is kind of the overarching thing here. It is an angle symbol. This one right here, you'll see this symbol, angle A. This is a way that I could demonstrate that. This is the angle that is associated with A. So this angle, that would be this angle right here. And I'm just going to draw that in a little bit here. Okay, so we could draw it in like that. That's angle A. Okay. The other way that we could recognize that, okay, is that we could also say it, and this is that second piece that I'm gonna put in there. Well, let's not use yellow. There we go. The other ways I could do with the letters that make up the angle. So this side right here and this side right here make up this angle. That's how we can determine the angle. It's between those two sides. And that's what we're going to be talking about when we talk about an angle. So let's just get my angle symbol right away. Sometimes we're not going to have just a single letter here or a single angle here. We might have more than one angle when we deal with multiple triangles. Okay, and that will come about later on. When we're looking at to try to find this angle then, this is point C, point A, and point B. So this would be angle CAB. And here actually it does really matter what we're dealing with because it is from C to A to B and C to A, and then we go clockwise. Sorry, this is counterclockwise. We go counterclockwise up to B. Okay, so we go counterclockwise up to B. So that would be how we recognize that angle. Okay, in this case here, it'd be angle CAB. Again, we don't deal with that a whole lot in this unit. We will talk a little bit about it, but it is also important that we understand that this is another way that we could represent that angle, and we can show that specifically. Final thing, I'm going to be asking you to solve for certain angles, and there's going to be certain ways that I'm going to represent that both on your assignments and in the notes here. The first one is I could use the letter theta. Now, theta is not actually an English letter. It is a Greek letter that we often use. And it looks like, let me just quickly find it again. It is right here. This is theta. It's like a 0 or an O with a line going through it. Okay, that's theta. So I might put that in here in our triangle. And there's also a shorthand for it, but I can just click here as well. And there we go. So if you see theta there, that means that we're looking for angle A. That's what we represent. The other one in mentioning here is a rounded line. You'll notice this rounded line I did in blue right here. So it's a rounded line that makes up the angle. If I give you that, that represents the angle that we're trying to find. We're not trying to find B, we're not trying to find C, we're trying to find A right here, and it's based on that rounded line. So that is just a representation of how we can label a triangle a generic triangle. And we're going to be doing this for part of this year. We're going to do a little bit with angles and labeling like this. But next year, we do everything with labeling these triangles in our trig unit.